Our conversation ends there. Tosok and Saber both go back to their rooms. I'm left alone in the living room and find myself starting to regret what I did. Well, it's too late. I should have said it differently. So why did I have to say it the way I did? Why was I only able to convince her with words that cut her so deep? Interlude. Interludes are a thing? Oh, right. It's a quiet, windless night. It's past midnight. Darkness blankets the city. The town itself is a dark sea, illuminated only by moonlight. Overhead, the clouds move across the sky. At ground level, there's not a breath of wind. Higher up, the air must be roaring as the clouds swim by. Maybe she hears the inaudible wind. She mutters quietly as she looks into the windy sky. The young girl, known as Saber, stands quietly in the middle of the yard, glaring up at the sky. Her golden hair is beautiful, even in the dark of the night. Her clear green eyes remain on the moon as it flickers in and out of view. She glances towards the corner of the yard once. There is an old shed. Her lord sleeps there. There's a heavy clang. The sound of iron melts into the darkness without reaching anyone's ears. The moon hides, then reveals itself once again. The clouds above float past. The girl's appearance changes radically. Solid, heavy armor. She can no longer be called a girl in her blue raiment. Now she is shrouded in steely armor, woven of magical energy, intense enough that it would overwhelm all others. In her hand, she holds an invisible sword, concealed by the same magical energy that surpasses human understanding. The figure, once considered undefeatable in the battlefield, proves that someone like her still exists in this day and age. Though her sword is invisible, the majestic air she exudes proves she is her exceptional skill as a swordman. Where the hell did my ability to talk go? This is what made her what has made her Saber. The hero of the sword, said to be the strongest of all the seven servants. A knight among knights who remains ever civil, and acts according to her lord's will. Whatever the other heroic spirits may be like, she remains the ideal swordsman, and who would never defy her lord. But that ends tonight. She is here, defying her lord's orders. Rather, she is not truly disobeying her lord. This is her way of bringing her lord victory, the result of her own determination. But this master will never change his ways. Then it must be her duty to be heartless. If her master will not fight, then his sword must. But that still poses no hindrance in battle. After confirming her own abilities, she returns her gaze to the moon. She has no concern for the shed where her lord sleeps any longer. Now that she is armed and wearing her armor, the only thing on her mind is defeating her enemies. The moon darkens. The moment a large cloud covers the sky, Saber jumps over the walls of the mansion grounds. She runs through the darkness. The silvery swordsman rushes through the sleeping town. She has but one destination, Ryudo Temple, sitting at the heart of the sacred mountain on the town's outskirts. Even Saber understands how difficult it will be to single-handedly defeat the master lurking in Ryudo Temple. Shiro is correct. She is bound to suffer great injury, or at worst, die herself. But how can she call herself a servant if she cannot do the impossible? Servants are driven by their superior abilities and unassailable pride. They are proud as heroes, and have earned the confidence in numerous battles they fought. As heroic spirits whose lore has been passed down and respected since ancient times, they cannot lose, no matter who they face. She cannot even imagine defeat. She is no exception, and however much of her innocence may still be left in her. Being granted the title of Saber is all the more reason she cannot ignore that pride. And that pride will not allow her to just sit by and do nothing when she can face her enemy. So she must brave any traps that may await her, and face her enemy even if she is alone. If she has no chance of winning, then she must simply use her sword to create one. Her sword is a celebrated blade that has cut countless enemies down. As long as she has invisible air, there is nothing for her to fear. She runs through the mountain pass and up the road leading to the temple. After she cuts through the mountain pass, an imposing stone staircase awaits her. It is certainly different than the Ryudo Temple she remembers. The air is stagnant. The wind is barren. The land's ley line was contaminated long ago. This place is a land of death. The moment one enters, there can be no escape. She does not hesitate. Saber does not so much as break stride as she runs up the steps. Scenery flies by. Her footsteps echo on the stone stairs, and the mountain begins to stir. The stairs are long, stretching across a great distance. The temple gates are far, even for Saber, who shoots up the stairs like an arrow. So long are the stairs that it'd be impossible for one to pass through the gate undetected. An ambush surely awaits along the way. Reaching the gate will not be easy. Whatever schemes may await her, she must simply smash through them and keep moving. Nothing will stop her. Even were Berserker to appear before her, she would break through. Such is her determination, her confidence. She reached the top. Just as she is about to reach the temple gates, an obstacle presents itself. Hi! Saber stops. Despite her determination and to push through no matter what enemy she faces, she is surprised at what she finds. It appears so naturally, like a breeze. The man then appears before her, lacking any trace of enmity, but leaves not a single opening for an attack. Saber stops and readies her invisible sword. The man before her, backlit by the moon, ignores Saber's menacing glare as if it were nothing to him. She has heard about them, but she is bewildered by the sight of one. This is her second and Holy Grail war. Even though she has seen many other heroic spirits, this is her first time seeing a servant like him. Sweat beads on Saber's brow. She isn't afraid. Rather, she is struggling to comprehend the situation. It is not as if she has never encountered strange servants. Certainly, there was no stranger, more mysterious servant than the archer of the previous war. But by comparison, the servant before her is hardly frightening and poses no incredible weaponry. And that is exactly what makes it strange. She senses nothing from the man. There is no doubt that he is a servant, but he seems to possess neither a noble phantasm nor magical energy. He should be an easy foe. Their fight should end in a single blow, but her instincts give her one very simple warning: don't underestimate him. This servant has a means of inflicting instant death. She can't get closer. His katana is unconventionally long for a Japanese sword, making it hard to gauge spacing. But more than that, Saber's position puts her at a huge disadvantage. I've got the high ground, Saber! It's over! The man stands at the top of the stairs, and Saber stands below him. He's about 5 meters from her. His sword will reach her before she can rush him. But she feels nothing of the sort. Repelling it should be easy. She should not be afraid to step in, but Saber senses somehow that she should not. Saber adjusts her grip on her sword and glares at the enemy ahead of her. I'm going to take a quick bio break. And give me a sec. Right, I'm back. I took a bit longer because I was putting warm stuff on. Saber adjusts her grip on her sword and glares at the enemy ahead of her. She may not know his identity, but she should at least be able to determine his class. Saber doesn't expect an answer. After a brief smile, wow, just gave us everything. The servant's reply is given in a sing-song voice. Saber cannot help but be surprised. Servants generally conceal their identities. What sort of servant would so bluntly and proudly give his name? The man who introduced himself as Sasaki Kojiro, the assassin, appears to enjoy Saber's confusion. There's no way Saber knows. She has no idea that the servant is a swordsman who wields a longsword called Monohoshizo, and was rumored to have been an unrivaled swordsman during the Keicho era in Japan. Knowing, of course, would change nothing. The man's origin is unknown, and even his existence is uncertain. His story was told only by word of mouth. There is perhaps only one person in the world who knows the true identity of the man who was hailed as the greatest swordsman in the world, the man who has never left a mark on history, but as Sasaki Kojiro's arch enemy, and the only one and to have ever defeated him. So how can this man be called a hero? The assassin, Sasaki Kojiro, is a presence far removed from Saber herself. Who among heroic spirits would know the abilities of a swordsman who could not himself normally be a heroic spirit? Two things are clear for her. One is that the man before her is an enemy. The other is that he willingly identified himself. Saber's voice is grave. Revealing her true name possesses an immense risk. She cannot reveal her true name, even under torture, nor does she have any intention of doing so. However, this is only in the name of her in pursuit of victory. For this same reason, she cannot tarnish her knight's honor. The man descends the stairs gracefully. Assassin confronts Saber, taking slow steps down the stairs. Sasaki Kojiro confirmed as a sword sexual? He takes a step closer. Assassin descends the stone steps, and he points his sword at Saber. It is I who should have been Saber. The swordsman laughs joyfully. As Saber speaks, she readies her sword. A silver light leaps, solid and soft. The battle between two very different swordsmen begins under the moonlight. Interlude out. Hold on, Shiro. First weapon, laundry drying pole. User assassin. A long sword said to have been wielded by the great sword master Sasaki Kojiro. The laundry drying pole is only a nickname. The sword's real name is unknown. Its length is recorded as over 3 shaku. 1 shaku equals 30 centimeters. But the blade assassin wields in this story is a non-standard 5 shaku. Is a non-standard 5 shaku sword closer to a spear in length. And in combat, such a long reach in itself is advantageous, but it seems absurdly impractical for a katana. The laundry drying pole would be effective enough in a one-on-one fight, but its length and weight would disadvantage its wielder. Surely there is no swordsman able to handle this long sword to a satisfactory level, save for assassin, whose esoteric techniques have exceeded human limits. Okay, assassin. We do not know his master. Sasaki Kojiro, male, 176 centimeters, 63 kilograms, neutral evil. Strength C, Constitution E, Agility A+, some magic E, luck A, noble phantasm, we have no clue. While his existence is met with suspicion, his name remains widely known as that of a peerless swordsman. He was a beautiful swordsman and who wielded a 3-foot-long longsword, Monohoshi Zao. He is said to be born in the Oroku era of Japan and became famous during 1605 and 1612, but the truth is not clear. The books that feature Sasaki Kojiro have many contradicting time periods, because his name was not even written down in the Book of Five Rings, written by Miyamoto Musashi, his most worthy opponent. According to records, Kojiro is from the Echizen province, and studied under Toda Saigon. And he favored the longsword after defeating the master's younger brother, he favored the longsword, and after defeating the master's younger brother, named himself Ganryu. After that, he went around various lands as a martial artist and developed the secret sword technique, swallow reversal, that can kill even a flying swallow in the Nishiki River in the Suwa province. And then, after terrifying swordsmen in different lands, he died fighting Miyamoto Musashi at Funishima. That would later become Ganryujima, in order to maintain the honor of the domain he served. Because of his long sword, he could not fight while holding the sheath and discarded it in front of Musashi. Musashi is believed to have said the famous line, "Kojiro has been defeated," after seeing that. Miyamoto Musashi holds the record for being one of the best swordsmen in Japan. Sasaki Kojiro was viewed as a worthy opponent, but his real image just as uncertain as a reflection of the moon on water. People will say there was someone like that, but the legend of Sasaki Kojiro has been passed down to the present, can only be that of a great but fictional swordsman that people fabricated. So skills, present concealment, gets rid of one's presence as a servant fit for covert operations, and false eye, resistance to modification caused by visual disturbances. It is a natural ability to predict danger, also known as sixth sense or premonition. And we don't know his novel phantasm. I wake up to a searing pain in my chest. It feels like I've just had a bad dream. Why? Why does my chest hurt? My head feels like it's burning. Actually, it feels more heat from outside, and it has been forced into my body. From outside? I doubt myself briefly, but before I can think of what it might be, I find myself rushing outside. Saber, are you here? I open the sliding screen door to Saber's room. She's not here. Don't tell me she... No, there's no doubt. If she's not here, she went to Ryudo Temple on her own. That idiot, why? She hasn't healed, so why would she... I'm so angry my head is starting to hurt. I didn't tell her I wasn't going to fight. I just didn't want her to get hurt like that again. There's no point in fuming here. I need to hurry to Ryudo Temple. I can't let Saber fight alone. Well, I don't know what good I can do. I don't know what good I can do her, but if I get there, maybe I can do something. Arg, she's a girl. Why can't she just behave herself? Don't be sexist, Shiro. I run. I don't even take the time to change. Out front, I grab a bike and pedal as fast as I can. Pedal, 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 pedal. I pedal down the hill without braking. It'll take at least 40 minutes to Ryudo Temple, even if I rush. I don't know how long it's been since Saber left, but I need to get to her as fast as I can. Back to interlude. 6-2. The blades cross. The edge of both swords come into contact again and again, stroke after stroke. Sword and katana alike spark as they strike and parry. That is so cool looking. Kudos to the artists who did these CGs, man. Several dozen exchanges like this later, and neither opponent has changed position. Assassin, standing on the steps, holds his ground. Saber, who is trying to advance up the stone steps, can't get any closer over to Assassin. Over time, she bleeds more and more energy. One of Saber's many attempts at rushing in. Assassin effortlessly swings his long blade, fully a meter and a half, and halts Saber's advance. No, he's not simply preventing an advance. If Saber's blade is lightning, Assassin's katana is a hurricane. Though Assassin may be no match for her in strength or speed, the flexible trajectory of his blade sweeps the flexible trajectory of his blade sweeps aside Saber's every attack. The ricocheting katana gains speed and flips back towards Saber's neck like a gust of wind. Even as Saber dodges the blow by a hair breadth, the long katana flicks back towards her, giving her not a moment's rest. In a contrast In contrast to Saber's straight sword, Assassin's blade is curved. Assassin's cutting edge is graceful, but it also draws a long extended arc. He shouldn't be able to match Saber's sword as it moves in a straight line, but he somehow cancels out that difference. She suddenly stops. Her blade isn't moving fast enough to block Assassin's counterattack. She falls back a pace, knowing it's the only way she can avoid the incoming strike. Assassin's katana traces a fascinatingly beautiful arc, but at the same time, it is so fast that it's nearly impossible to follow. Is this seeming impossibility owed to Assassin's skill, or is it owed instead to Saber being at a disadvantageous position in their battle? Unable to reach a clear conclusion, Saber continues dodging Assassin's strikes and turns aside the blade as it arches towards her neck with her own weapon. The next thing she knows, she has retreated more steps down the stairs. That's the extent of his long katana's reach. It would be easy to rush up close to him as he sweeps his sword aside, but for some reason she just can't do it. It must be owed to the enemy's superb skills and her own position below him, which puts her at a disadvantage. Saber bites her lip, thinking she wouldn't have such a hard time against that long katana if they were on flat ground. Assassin is unmoved. He is fighting purely to defend. He need not chase after a retreating Saber, nor does he have any reason to give up the advantage of higher ground. Assassin watches Saber, his posture relaxed, perhaps simply because he needn't go on the offense. The tip of his blade wavers, losing strength, but Saber cannot seize the opportunity. The man is not holding a stance. A long katana like that can only be wielded as long as the wielder is able to swing the sword from any position. He did a funnies, guys! It's an invisible sword! It can't be for show! Sorry, not sorry. The sword and katana clash. The long sword stops mid-swing. Assassin grins, glancing at his katana where it has stopped the invisible sword, then parries again. While Saber catches the flash coming at her neck. Even Saber knows. She's been able to block Assassin's unfamiliar sword work thanks to her invisible sword. Her invisible sword can confuse the opponent's senses, both offensively and defensively. Assassin not following through on his attacks is proof of this. Not knowing how long Saber's sword it is makes it too dangerous for Assassin to close in on her. If Assassin were to step in to attack, he will do so when Saber tries to smash Assassin's forehead. That attack, Assassin dodges it completely, and as he takes a step back.
よし、これで目測はついたな。刀身3弱余り、幅は4寸といったところか。形状は、セイバーの名の通り、典型的な西洋の剣だな。
Assassin may have spoken calmly, but his exceptional skill at appraising the blade is clear. Saber's strike had been so fast that even were her sword visible, it would have been almost impossible to see. And yet, not only did he manage to defend himself from the invisible blade, he also figured out its size and shape.
何の魔術も使わず、満足に打ち合ってもいないというのに、私の剣を測ったのですか、あなたは。
ほう、驚いたか。だが、こんなものは大道芸であろうよ。邪剣使いゆえ、このような技ばかり上手くなる。
Guys, he considers telling the length of an invisible, the length and width of an invisible sword at a party trick. I think there may be trouble.
なるほど。私の一撃をまともに受けず、ただ払うだけがあなたの戦いだった。邪剣使いとは、その逃げ腰から来た俗称ですか。
いやいや、まともに打ち合わぬ無礼は許せ。何しろこの長刀だ。打ち合えば折れるは必定。お主としては力勝負こそが基本なのだろうが、こちらはそうはいかぬ。その剣と組み合い、力を競い合うことはできん。もとより、刀というものはそういうものだ。西洋の剣はその重さと力で物を叩き切る。だが、我らの刀は速さと技で物を断ち切るのだ。戦いが噛み合わぬのは道理であろう。まあしかし、これではいささか興がそがれる。もう良い頃合いだぞ、セイバー。いい加減手の内を隠すのはやめにしろ。
アサシン、私があなたに手加減しているとでも。
していないとでも言うのか。何のつもりかは知らんが、剣を鞘に収めたまま戦とは舐められたものだ。私程度では本気を出すまでもないということか。
What?
ほう。それでも応じないという顔だな。よかろう。ならばここまでだ。お前が出し惜しみをするのなら、先に我が秘剣をお見せしよう。
The swordsman with the long katana drifts down next to Saber. For an assassin to give up his advantageous position and is as good as inviting defeat. He may be a superb swordsman, but it was the landscape of their battleground that gave him the advantage. If the two are to fight on level ground, Saber would have no trouble repelling Assassin's attack and taking his head then and there. Assassin should know this as well. So why?
構えよ。出なければ死ぬぞ、セイバー。
Saber instinctively reacts to the smoothness in his voice, for he is speaking the truth. Assassin descending the step does not put her in an advantageous position. Her intuition, which has enabled her to triumph in so many battles, warns her of her mistake. She readies her invisible sword. There is no room to hesitate. What matters is that she has to attack with her sword before her assassin swings his long katana. Roughly 3 meters separates the two. He readies himself? That should be he. The stance he takes now is one he has not taken in this battle so far. Saber charges. The long katana is meaningless now. The moment she draws near Assassin, the katana will become a liability to him. And yet, such logic means little to a swordsman like him. Lightning strikes. Faster than Saber's blade, the demonic blow strikes down and with a single straight line. But it's not as if Saber cannot block such an attack. She quickly raises her sword to defend, repelling Assassin's attack. Even Assassin will be left open after an attack like that is turned aside. In that split-second interval, as Saber attempts to cut through Assassin's stomach, swiftly trusting her instinct, Saber rolls down the steps. She rolls away as if she's fleeing. She makes no effort even to soften her landing. All Saber does is frantically hurl herself down the stairs, slowing for nothing. Ow! Saber stops rolling to get to her feet. Above her on the stairs, she sees the swordsman standing at his ease. As you do. He raised his long katana up high. The motion is done as if to mimic the demonic sword's motion as he demonstrated earlier to intimidate Saber.
あいにくと他にやることもなかったのでな。一年鬼神に通じるというが、気がつけばこの通りよ。ツバメを断つというくだらぬ思いつきは、複数の立ち筋で牢獄を作り上げる秘剣となった。
Saber cannot help but disagree with this matter-of-fact narrative. It is untrue. His technique is not as simple as he claims. Execute two attacks simultaneously? Impossible. The two blades struck at exactly the same time. At that moment, there existed two separate katana.
奇襲はゼルレッジ。何の魔術も使わず、ただ剣技だけで宝具の域に達したサーバント。
It is almost certainly to be admired. That single blow made it very clear. Sasaki Kojiro does not possess a noble phantasm as heroic spirits can typically do. All he has is this magical sword and sheer power, reaching the realm of the gods. What's astonishing is this man, a mere human, has managed to stand on equal ground to a heroic spirit who possesses a noble phantasm.
だが、足場が悪かったな。ツバメ返しの奇跡は本来3つ。もうわずかに広ければ、横の一撃も加えられたのだが。
そうでしょうね。そうでなければ不完全です。すべてが同時であるなら、ミノたちはどうしても遅くなる。それを補うために横方向への離脱を阻む3の太刀があるはずだ。
いい飲み込みの速さだ。だからこそ我が秘剣をかわしたか。素晴らしいぞ、セイバ
ー。Guys, I think we may be in trouble.
このような属性に呼び出された我が身を呪ったが、それも今宵まで。生前では叶わなかった立ち会い。我が秘剣を存分に振る舞える殺し合いができるのならば、呼び出された甲斐があるというもの。
Assassin readies his sword and descends the stone steps. He must be after Saber's head. Saber is not confident she will be able to dodge that secret technique again. Like Lancer's Guy Bolg, Assassin's Swallow Reversal is a technique that one cannot allow the wielder to use. Except, unlike Guy Bolg, against one which can defend against one and can defend once they understand what it is and know that it will strike at the heart. There is no defense against assassin secret technique. It cannot be evaded, even when one knows what it is. If there is a defense, it lies in preventing him from using the attack. The only way to defeat him is to deliver a devastating blow before an assassin can unleash his secret technique.
なるほど。確かに手加減など許される相手ではなかったようだ。
She lowers both her hands. Saber drops the tip of her invisible sword as if driving it into the ground and glares up at Assassin as he approaches.
そうか。ようやくその気になったか、セイバー。
Jojo meme. Oh, so you're approaching me? Assassin stops descending the steps and readies his secret technique once more. Saber looks at him bravely.
不満がないのはこちらも同じだ。我が一撃受け切れるか、アサシンのサーバント。
Saber releases her own restraints. The air trembles. As if responding to her will, her sword releases a torrential gust of wind. Assassin retreats several steps. The gale force winds release Saber's released from Saber's sword are extraordinary. Even the thick tree is on either side of the temple gate create creak and groan. So strong is the wind, and it all but explodes outward from her blade. The atmosphere sealed within, the atmosphere sealed in is released and roars outwards in all directions. Saber's sword releases a gust of wind that could easily carry off a human being.